Crusoe's a very small community. It's very tight-knit. Everybody knows everybody.
It's just a place where you can expect to be waved at and taken in if you need be. Real humble, a lot of good people.
I've always felt like this town, this whole town and community had a good heart, good caring hearts.
It's a rural community surrounded by the Blue Ridge Parkway and the Blue Ridge Mountains. And it's really defined by this valley, the East Fork of the Pigeon River that flows down it. The flood happened on August 17th, 2021. My wife had been receiving chemotherapy treatment for Hodgkin's lymphoma, and that was the day when we went to our oncologist and found out the good news that she was finally in remission. That was at 10 a.m. It was raining, and it had been raining for the past 2 days.
It was a Tuesday, and I was actually late leaving work, coming home. As I'm driving up the river, it had been raining a lot for several days, and it had rained a lot that day. And as I'm just coming up 276, it just felt different. There was just something really different about the feel. The river was different, it was high.
Building inspectors came in from the day and they said that there had been a landslide about a quarter of a mile past the fire department. My father was watching my grandpa, and we have a wet weather gully that would only run if it was raining for days. It doesn't take much to block it up. So I know that if it was raining the way they said it rained that day, he would have been out there trying to divert the water, save the house. So when that mountain did what it did, and there were boulders in the road that didn't make sense, half the road was missing. The whole mountain had been dropped from like the curtains being clipped. He was found by someone that lives down here who's a friend.
When daylight came, I didn't turn left off of my road to go down the hill to see that the whole state bridge had been washed away. There's a lot of houses destroyed, cars and trucks and just vehicles and trees up on their end. Some of them were hanging up in trees. I don't even know how they were staying up there. Riverbanks cut away, the houses it was just such a mess. It was a devastation.
As we drove up 276, just the destruction and the loss, it was just so overwhelming. Just, cried the whole way up. There was a lot of people, they lost loved ones, they lost family members, they lost their entire, their whole world that day.
Our pastor, Peter Constantian, told us that as we are in the middle of this community, to be ready for whatever happened, that we needed to be on board and be aware that things were going to be happening.
This church is a small membership church. We're not at a place where we could really support a 7-day-a-week kind of ministry. I encourage my folks to just trust that, if we open up our doors and if we welcome other people in to help us, that it'll work out.
People brought donations. We gave out food boxes, we fixed meals, and provided places for people to rest that were working in the community, the volunteers, and just tried to help them out the best we could.
Sometimes people just wanted to come in a safe space and just talk. You would hear their story and realize again how lucky we were. I feel like it helped me a whole lot more than I helped other people. I think a lot of times you can't have that conversation with somebody about their faith if they're hungry or if they're hurting, if they're cold, if they don't know where they're going to sleep that night. So I feel like this ministry that happened through Crusoe Methodist with meeting the needs of the community, we were able to help people meet those physical needs. Then later you could have the conversations with them about, you could share your faith or you could ask them about their faith.
I really believe I saw the kingdom of God on display in this community. And to see the aftermath of the flood be the exact opportunity that God provided for me to fulfill what I felt was my calling, to be in a rural context, to serve a rural church as a gateway to serving a larger rural community. And we were able to demonstrate that.
Being able to step up, it makes us still know that God is still working through us. He is able, and He can make us able. We just need to be available for further instructions, because He will give them to you if you open yourself up to it. Sometimes, we did think that we couldn't do it. We just couldn't. We didn't see how it could be done. But God showed us how it could be done. So He provided.
I just have always felt like we're to be the hands and feet of Jesus, whether it's helping a one-time thing or whether it's an ongoing project that you're involved in, doing something. I just feel like we're all supposed to serve. I think that it shows people that God cares for them. I think being a smaller community, knowing more about your neighbors, it's brought a lot of us closer together. It's made us much more aware of who our neighbor is.
I have learned a more powerfully underlined lesson of the fact that we can all face disasters. We can all be the recipients of help, and help is available, and God still sends help. He's not turned deaf or blind. He knows our needs. We just have to trust Him.
The Crusoe community is still in a process of recovery. It's never going to go back to the way it was. But for the most part, we have been able to maintain a steady stream of disaster ministries, rebuilding homes or refinishing homes. We're doing the work that God needs us to do right now. And that was the feeling that really carried us through. It's like, if you're doing the right work, then you don't have to fear what could go wrong, because the community will have your back. But it's still a work in progress.